Good evening, welcome to Team Talk. I'm Harry Pete. Here's tonight's lineup. Can Canterbury claim their first points in a Kent hockey derby? We find out how the Ward brothers manage Ramsgate, and we pop into Kent's curling centre. But first tonight, it was a derby day in hockey on Saturday as Canterbury hosted fierce rivals Holcombe. Both the men's and women's teams faced off in a Kent grudge match. Here's Keelan Webster with the highlights.
Canterbury got the game underway looking for their first points of the season, but it was high-flying Holcombe that took the lead, Samuel Ward smashing home this penalty corner. The Hawks were then 2 up inside 10 minutes. A slick move found its way to Harry Trusler, who couldn't miss from 4 yards out. The hosts got themselves back in the contest just 2 minutes later. Cal Kramer creamed this reverse sweep into the bottom corner. Canterbury found a surprise leveller on 22 minutes when Kramer was at it again, this time cracking an effort past the helpless Holcombe stopper. The visitors were back in front 2 minutes later though. Barry Middleton slalomed past a couple of challenges before bruising one home. Middleton added another in the second half before Trusler was involved again. His sensational solo run from wide on the left was eventually turned home by Gareth Andrew. James Oates grabbed a consolation for Canterbury, but Holcombe ran out 5-3 winners to move second in the table. Canterbury remained bottom without a point. Earlier in the day, Holcombe ladies were hoping to bounce back from last weekend's 1-0 reverse against East Grinstead. In a tight game of few chances, Holcombe's huddle led to the undoing of Canterbury's defence. Perfect penalty corner tactics and then perfect execution from Emily Maguire gave the visitors the goal that was enough for the points. Holcombe goes second in the table, whilst Canterbury dropped to 7th.
It was a busy weekend for football in the county with sides from the National and Ryman Leagues all in action. Here's a look at how they fared. Chatham Town were unable to build on last week's shock away win at Dorking Wanderers as they were beaten 4-1 at home to Corinthian Casuals. The Casuals went ahead in the first half when top scorer Sean Okoji slid in at the far post to tap home. Okoji grabbed his second of the match, finishing off this great 1-2 before placing the ball beyond the despairing dive of the Chatham defender on the line. Chatham Town were given a lifeline in the match when Luke Medley beat the Casuals offside trap before powering this effort into the top corner. But the Town's comeback was all but ended when Okoji grabbed his hat-trick. After some good work and questionable defending on Chatham's left, the striker was picked out in the box and rifled home. Elsewhere in the Ryman League South, Ramsgate picked up a 1-1 draw away at Carshalton. Faversham lost at home to high-flying Dorking Wanderers 2-1. Herne Bay won convincingly against Chipstead 3-0. Hythe recorded their 9th consecutive league win, beating Moseley 1-0, and Sittingbourne were comfortably beaten 3-1 at home to Tooting. Moving up the pyramid to the Ryman Premier, Folkestone and Tunbridge were both comfortably beaten by Harrow and Wingate and Finchley respectively. In the National League South, Dartford picked up a 1-0 win away to Bath. Ebbsfleet could only manage a draw with East Thurrock, and Margate had a day to forget, losing 5-1 at home to Concord. And in the National League, Dover striker Ricky Miller scored 4 as they hammered Braintree 6-1, while Maidstone lost 2-0 at home to Gateshead. In League 1, Gillingham were held to a 1-1 draw against rivals Charlton. Despite going ahead through Bradley Dack and Stuart Nelson saving a penalty in the match, the Gills were denied their first win in 5 games and a first clean sheet of the season after Charlton scored in the 90th minute. The result leaves them 18th in the table, just 2 points above the drop zone. Now, when you think of brothers in football, who springs to mind? The Nevilles, the Charltons, or maybe even the Torre brothers? But what about the Wards? The pair are joint managers at Ramsgate, and Ethan Van Ristel went to meet them.
Here at Ramsgate, the Kent derby against Faversham is always a heated affair.
It comes down to the managers to get their tactics right and to also put their players in the right mindset. But what happens if you don't just have one person managing the team, but 2? And what if they happen to be brothers?
Well, at Southwell Stadium there's exactly that. Jim and Danny Ward have been at the helm here for 15 months and oversaw a 12th place league finish last campaign. It is unusual to see a joint managerial setup at a club, and even more unique that they are brothers. Does this lead to disagreements?
Brothers clash, don't they? you know, but to be fair, Danny will have his view and I'll have mine, but come like tonight's 7:45 kick-off, we'll know what we want to pick.
There'll be times when we agree totally, there'll be times when we don't agree, but we'll agree to disagree. And as soon as it's down to football, when everybody else is about, that's when we get on.
Having joint responsibility, what does this mean for tactics?
We've been joint managers now for about 4 years, you know, and it's worked wherever we've been. Tactics-wise, we talk about set pieces, we work things out, we speak to our coach about the set pieces. The dynamic of the whole thing is done together and it comes out in one.
Being siblings also means that there is more discipline in the dressing room.
So if you have a manager and an assistant manager, joint managers, sometimes the players think they'll be able to get in the way of that. But especially with being brothers, they know they've got no chance of that because it's a family thing.
Ramsgate ended the night as 1-0 winners, and the Wolves will be hoping that their unique setup will continue to bring results on the pitch.
With the winter sports season starting soon, we've sent Sean Hills to the Curling Centre in Tunbridge Wells.
It's a chilly affair here at England's only dedicated curling centre just outside of Tunbridge Wells, and with the new season starting and the rink reopening for the winter, competition is hotting up as the Tuesday night leagues start again.
Yeah, come and try it. It's great. You need to, if you want to come and try it, there's different events on. You can hire the rink with some friends and come down and you get a coach. I did a charity event here a few years ago, about 5 years ago. Really enjoyed it, so I joined like a beginners night and just took it up and given everything else up to do this now.
Fenton's Rink in Kent is England's only dedicated curling home and is open to anyone that fancies lacing up their sliding shoes and giving the sport a go. The game involves two teams trying to accumulate the highest score by sliding granite stones as close to the centre mark, or house, as possible. It is the sweeper's job to help guide the stone by smoothing the ice and reducing the friction.
Well, it's a great sport. It's very inclusive. You can be 11 and you can be 80 and you can be playing this sport. The range is great. Even if you've got a bad back or bad knee, you can still play. So there's nothing to be frightened of. It's just a case of coming down, having a go, having some lessons probably with me, and then we get you involved in what's going on behind us with the leagues. Or if you just want to do it at a more leisurely pace, you can come down with a group of friends once a month or once a fortnight and come and curl.
More information can be found at www.fentonsrink.co.uk. Sean Hills, KMTV.
Have a great week. Good night.